from Lovely Commotion, and I am coming to you live about, oh, wrong direction, gotta get used to this, distance learning at home activities. So recently I found that while at home, some of my preschool students and their families were turning to workbooks and things like that, workbooks, worksheets to get them ready for kindergarten. One of the big things that they were concerned about was them being ready for kindergarten since they didn't get to finish their pre-K year. And while I completely understand that, my teacher heart that loves playing, learning through play was kind of breaking because that's not what I really wanted to see them doing. Obviously, if I was in control, they would be in my classroom and we would be doing more hands-on activities, but that just wasn't, in the cards. So I got to thinking, like, how can I give them something that is more like a game and less like a pencil paper sit down, um, complete this many pages type of thing? And how can I make sure it's on skills that I think that they need, not necessarily what the publishers of workbooks are thinking that they need? So I came up with some at-home activities that I would do. Some of these activities if I was in the classroom in our small group. And so I've got three different sets. There's a math, a literacy, and a fine motor. And so I just wanted to show you those today because I'm hoping that they'll be helpful. So when I created these, my goal was for you to be able to take a PDF and post it to a secured site that maybe you're using for communication, or even just emailing directly to your parents. And if your parents happen to have a printer, they can use their printer. Or you can make copies at your school and do the packets like some of you are already doing. And then as an added bonus, you could use these throughout the year, next year when we're hopefully back in the classroom. I know we will be. And you could send these home as activities to do then too. So here's just an example, and I wanted to show you the example of what a parent would get when you send them one of these activities. And there are 10 different activities per subject, like the literacy, math, or fine motor. So like this one is math, and this is sorting by shape and by size. So the top part here tells them what to do to prepare it, how they can play it, and kind of all of them give kind of a little picture here to give them a better idea of what it should be looking like. And then they've got the pieces down below, and it tells them what to do, tells them to prepare by cutting them apart. And then it's got the sorting board. So the top one is sorting by shape, and so they're sorting by shape of the animal, and the bottom one is sorting by size. So this is something we would do in preschool, but now this is something, we might have used sorting buttons or bears to do something like that, but that's just not something they have at home. And a lot of people don't want to print color, and so all these are in black and white so that they can still practice some of the same skills while at home. So I wanted to do, let's see if I can figure out a screen share. And I wanted to, no, it doesn't look like it can do it right now. Sorry, new to this, friends. But I wanted to tell you some of the skills that each one of these covers. So there's 10 in the at-home math activities. And those would be, first of all, hold on just a second. Visual discrimination. So they're going to be doing a memory game where they are discriminating between different pictures of kids. I wish I could show you this screenshot. There's also basic concepts like point to the first, point to the last, point to an animal after the monkey, point to one that is not a food, those type of concepts. Then there is also spatial awareness, a Go Fish game for that. There's also sequencing. I'm in the literacy one. I apologize. I am confusing you all, aren't I? Because those do not sound like math activities. Let's try again. Math activities. There's this shape match. So they're matching different shapes. cards with a clip card game, counting, they're playing a grid game, sorting by shape and size. I just showed you that one. Seriation, they're ordering things by size, more or less. They're playing almost like a war game where they're collecting the cards. Whoever lay two down, whichever player, it's a two-player game, gets the highest gets to keep both cards. That's a fun one. Which doesn't belong. So they have 4 pictures and which of them does not belong. Naming numerals, numeral bingo. That's always fun. Ordering numbers. These are the puzzles that they cut apart and they order the numbers from 1 to 10. There's also numeral to quantity matching puzzles and numeral tracing. So that is what is in the math activities. Those are the skills that are covered. And then I also wanted to show you this one is a literacy one. And so you can see at the top, these are task cards. These are ones I started telling you about. So you cut apart the task cards, you read the directions on the task cards to your child. So like this one, point to the first turtle, point to the last truck, point to the one that is different, point to the animal after the monkey, point to the one that is not a food, and point to the one that doesn't fly. So these are obviously very quick and simple because I didn't want my kiddos sitting at the table forever and a day. I wanted them out playing outside with their brothers and sisters. So I wanted these to be quick, but I wanted parents to still feel like there was some learning going on because they are nervous about what's coming next. So as far as the literacy skills, they include that one you just saw, visual discrimination. Like I was saying, they're going to match, they're like little kid cards, memory cards, and they match them. And that helps with them later being able to tell the differences between letters and numbers and things like that, noticing differences. Basic concepts like the one I just showed you, spatial sense, above, below, behind. It's a go fish game. There's also sequencing of a nursery rhyme and the pictures in a nursery rhyme. There's rhyming, rhyming puzzles, letter bingo, upper and lowercase matching, beginning sounds, and letter tracing. So those are the 10 skills in the literacy one. And then the last one was probably my favorite to make, and it is the at-home fine motor. So this one you can see is called mini paths. So they're just supposed to cut out these tracing mats, and it encourages them to have a pencil, golf pencils, or a crayon. And they work to follow the path and stay in between the lines. Now, obviously, this is can be a complicated task for some children to do. So there's several different mini paths on here. And then this also includes big paths as well. So I'll tell you about all those too. So just simple ways for them to be moving their crayon or small pencil with purpose and try to stay between those lines, which takes a lot of great fine motor muscles. So let me tell you about what's in those. So as far as the fine motor activities, there's bead work. So that's basically like them placing a pony bead onto small dots. They can also use the eraser of a pencil and just kind of stamp it, maybe dip it in paint or dip it in a stamp pad. There's also dough work, Play-Doh. There's mats where it shows them that they need to roll it into a snake and fill in the dough mat. There's also hole punchers, which is fun. If that one might be one of the later ones that you would want to assign to parents because it can be more difficult depending on the hole punch. There's tracing, simple tracing like top to bottom, left to right, diagonals, and then also tracing squares, X's, crosses, and circles. And then the mini paths, I showed you those. And then there's big paths, which take up the whole page, a little bit longer, kind of like a maze, but there is no maze component. It's just the tracing. And then scissor snipping, where they're just snipping a little bit to a little tiny picture. And then there's snipping strips where there's a whole strip and they're snipping out the different pictures. There's cutting lines where they're cutting straight up and cutting zigzags and curves along the way. And the last one is cutting shapes where they're cutting out rectangles, circles, squares, ovals, and triangles. So those are kind of what's included in there. Hello. And I just want to give you a quick video of those because I'm hoping they will be helpful for you. So the way I've set it up is when you get the file, you have individual PDFs. So like this would be one individual PDF that you could send via email to your family so that you're not overloading them by giving them all 10 at one time. So you could send this, or you could make a copy of it, send it home, do the pickup packets or whatever you're doing. And then I've also got a file in there, it's called Print All. So you can print all of them for the fine motor if you're wanting to copy these, maybe and get them ready for next year. Or if you're making packets and you just want to prepare them. So that's an option too. But you can post these to your parents in a site that's password protected, or you can send them via email. So I wanted to make it a little bit easier for you because my families, most of them have printers. And so they're able to do that. So you can find these in my Teachers Pay Teachers store. There's 3 different products, and I've listed them in the comments. It's the At-Home Fine Motor, At-Home Literacy, and At-Home Math. And they also are bundled with, actually, let me see if I can find it here to show you. I've done another video on this. Oh, sorry, dropped something. They're actually bundled, those 3 are bundled with the At-Home Math games. And the difference between the math games and the math activities is basically that the activities are based on a skill. So there's sorting. I don't even remember what I read to you. I've made them and I can't even remember off the top of my head. But those are based on seriation, all those different type of skills. Whereas the math games are different types of games. And obviously they include skills within them, but that's not how I broke them up. So like this one is the collection game, the race game, tells how many players, but they all are game, like actual game board type of base games. So there's a bundle of those 4, the math games, and then all 3 of the activity sets. So that might be an option as well. But I just wanted to let you know about them because I'm hoping there'll be a solution for you. I know that they've been helpful for me to share with my family so that they get something else instead of maybe those worksheets and those workbooks that they're thinking will get them ready for preschool. So anyhow, also today's the last day of the Teachers Pay Teachers sale. That is it's a Teacher Appreciation Week one. So happy Teacher Appreciation Week. And that is going on right now, and everything, even the bundles, everything in my store is 20% off. And then you can get an extra 5 with Thank You 20, I believe it is. It'll say it on the Teachers Pay Teachers site, but that's an option too. If you want to grab them now, they'll be a little bit cheaper. But I wanted to offer you something that might be of help. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.